Let's talk about arguments with money, because we've just established that you guys do have a lovely sense of openness and there's an ease about you. I can see that just being with you. Some people don't. It can be really, really difficult. We've already heard about, people breaking up over differences in salary and the stats around that. It's one of the main reasons people do break up and marriages break down. Let's talk firstly from experience, and we can chip in here as well. Have you ever had any particularly difficult conversations about your finances?
We have never had an argument about money.
Yeah, we were talking about this. We haven't had an argument about money, but you know what? Thinking about it,
I've got a few up my sleeve. Yeah.
We haven't argued about money, but I would say we've had, I guess, not difficult conversations, but just conversations around cultural aspects of like wedding planning. So like in the African culture, in most African cultures, there's a thing about dowry.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So like there's dowries that still exists in our cultures and
in some Asian
and
well.
some other parts of the world as well. And I guess navigating how to approach those situations in a way that makes sense to us can be, I would say, a little bit difficult, because on the woman's side, there's usually a lot more pressure in terms of like traditional expectations, whereas on the man's side, it's a little bit different. And I would say we've been trying to navigate that in a way that works for us and in a way that makes us comfortable, but that also kind of like respects the culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably the only thing that's been a little bit tricky that we've been trying to navigate, but we've never argued about it. And I mean, touch wood, we haven't. We're about to plan a wedding soon, so I think maybe things might heat up a little bit, but we're laying the foundation.
We haven't had an argument about money, but the caveat is that like it's just the two of us. We haven't had a wedding, we haven't had children. Like there's so many more life experiences to come, which we may find challenging. But where it's just the two of us, and I knew that there would be expectations around, like culturally, or even like maybe gendered expectations that might come into our relationship.
And again, we spoke about that really early, very early into the relationship. I was like, dowries involved when it comes to like getting married in my culture, and we were very open.
But my thing was just like, great, now I just need to figure out how to make as much money as possible without screwing anyone over. So the productivity that you've seen from me in the last couple of years, like a lot of that's to do with it. And I think I really welcome that. I'm so, I feel like if we weren't together, I would just be in a room with a mattress on the floor and a PS5 in the corner and just a phone so I can order Deliveroo 3 times a day. But it's this relationship has really pushed me.
That's so funny to me to hear, because I only know this you. I don't know another version of you.
I don't want to know him either.
I just see you in your suit at Downing Street, like looking the part. I can not imagine this mattress with the PS, whatever it was.
I'd be a teenager still, for sure.
Yeah. I love that though. That's so cool. You've made me just think of an area where I do feel like I don't think I've really articulated this, because we don't really argue loads about
what you just said. It's probably made the same
go
penny
on,
drop.
You go.
I can't remember an argument around money before we had kids.
Ooh.
When it was just the two of us, there's expendable income, we're on the same page on everything. Yeah. I think post having the kids, I think there were some times you'll be like, we're not doing well for money. Like, we're fine. And I'll be like, it's okay, we're good. You're like, no, we need more for this. And it made me realize I wasn't living in the day-to-day actual needs of the family, the kids, the stuff we got. And we were fine from my point of view. Like, and I'm a fairly cheap date. Like, I don't need loads of stuff. Like, the things that I had that make me feel like we're doing okay, I had and we were good. But there were things to do with just the kids' needs, or I don't know, just stuff, classes, ballet, clothes, whatever. I didn't feel as much. And it definitely took a good few rounds of you feeling like you're saying the same thing for it finally to be like, I think there's something here I'm not feeling. I think I need to really hear you more so. I think maybe we were at that where we were at and where I was at work-wise. I didn't have lots of opportunities to just earn loads and loads. So I just couldn't really see much of a way through. So I think one lesson for me was as your family life develops, learning to listen to, like, you were just a little bit closer to maybe some of the needs than I was. And it's really important, if that's the case, that you listen well and understand. And the second thing that stands out is I'm naturally quite a positive person, and we do Clifton Strength Finders at work. I have positivity like in my top 5 strengths. Strategy is quite low, whereas Anna has like strategy number 1. So looking at the future, like Anna would be like, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to do this? We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And it's not like I'm faking. It's like a deep-seated belief. We're going to be okay. And I've realised probably a few years of that, you would ask the question and be like, how? What's your...
Show me the numbers.
Love the vision, but yeah.
But more than that, like, what's the plan for that? That's great you love those kinds of houses. And how are you going to get there? Do you know what kind of salary that we would need collectively to afford that kind of house? And I can live with oh no, we'll get there one day. I know you're saying you'll get there one day, but it actually has to turn into like a plan. And I guess that's your kind of strategy talent at play. That's not natural for me. So I think that's probably, now I'm probably more self-aware to realise, okay, just sheer positivity doesn't pay a mortgage.
Damn.
There actually is a plan that needs to be hatched. And that's where I think we're joining forces a lot more and more.
It's a good balance though, because I do think being positive allows you to think clearly. Like I always find that if I'm panicking about something, it is so hard for me to think. But if I just sit down, calm down, try and be positive, imagine that there can be a way out. And then that's when like your way of thinking comes in, because then you're able to strategize. And
you make a good team.
Yeah, and I need a bit of this positivity because I'm like a doom cloud in the mornings. It takes me it's like 11 a.m. is when I sort of turn into a positive version of myself. And then the rest of the day's fine, but it's every morning it's like coming out of the valley. Like, Sai, do something, make me laugh or something. Okay. What the thing I was going to say is I wanted to ask you guys what you think about is sometimes the conversation or the argument around money not actually about money. And I think as you were speaking, it made me think the times where we've had the biggest disconnect, and I wouldn't say massive arguments, but just like frustration or feel like we're butting heads, have been times where I've known something's not right, but not known how to articulate it and not known how to communicate it in a way that's enough to get you to listen or just say it well to make you understand. And I think that's so in that moment, it wouldn't necessarily be about the money. It would just be this feeling of like, we just need to move this thing here that's not working. And I think that's where I feel like there's a lot of layers to these conversations. Do you guys think there's often other things going on in the mix?
Yeah, I think arguments come from misalignment. And I don't think arguing is bad either. I'm very thankful that when we argue, we do keep it respectful. So I think in the process of
so important
arguing or talking, however you choose to resolve it, you're trying to meet in the middle. And maybe it'll be more your middle or more my middle, but you're trying to sync up. So rarely do I think the argument is purely about money. It's more about mismanaged expectation or a miscommunication, or why didn't you know I felt this way about
or like
X, Y,
I
and
said,
Z.
like not listening maybe, or like you feeling like you have to repeat something again and again.
And for someone who's quite literal, and language is important to me, and from like a mathematician point of view, I like sentences that are watertight. And I think for you, you would say that's not often the way you communicate.
No.
There's a feeling, and there's a gut sense, and you're trying to put it into words. And I would get hung up at the surface level of the sentence you said. Well, that's not actually true. Rather than be like, can you just look beyond that? Just presume the things I'm going to say aren't exactly accurate, but just can you see there's something else going on here? So I think that also, I mean, that's years that took me to understand. Just be okay with like.
But let's be real. My reaction to that was, well, I'll just say it again, but louder.
Yeah.
And then another time louder.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this isn't
But
working.
each time you're escalating, you're saying things that aren't actually categorically true, or like that. That's just not true. So that's a style of communicating we have to just work out.
Yeah, it's
And
hard.
just find each other in.
And I think, finding each other in it is really tough.
But your question though, is it not about the money? I think money is always somehow linked to something that you value. And so, it's not just about the hard cash. It often is other stuff you brought into it. Or it could be actually for a few months you've been feeling this, and suddenly this is the one thing that's triggered that. But actually it's not. It's deep down you feel this, or you feel trapped, or we feel like we're not going to ever earn more or do other things. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what it's really about. So I do often feel like from our cases, it's not just money. It's about something much bigger.